Now, so that means our image is 6 by 10. If we are going to keep it the same size, then that means that we need a piece of paper that's 6 by 10. So the first thing I want to do is decide on where that's going to be at, right? So because of the fact that this sketchbook is in here, I've got a little perforated line right here that I can kind of keep my visual on as far as being straight. But I just need to decide where I'm going to have that 0 at, where I know this sketchbook is a 9 by 12 sketchbook. You can see that right here. So I know that I have some space to work with all the way around my image. So I'm just going to decide, pull it in an inch. So if you put your ruler here from the flush with the edge, I'm going to make a little tick mark there that's an inch. And then I know that it needs to be 10 inches long. Okay, so then we can go all the way over to 10, which will actually be at the 11. Okay. So now I know that that's my 10-inch mark. So now in order to match that and keep that straight, I'm just going to bring this straight down. Again, making sure it's flush with that. And then I'm going to do, and again, with these tick marks, you want to make sure they're very light. You're drawing very lightly. If you press really hard and indent your paper, it's really difficult to erase those later on. And when you're doing shading over it, then you'll see those. So make sure that you're drawing very, very light for all of these steps. Okay, so now we have 2 of these lines. Why don't we just go ahead and make another one in the middle just to make sure that we're lining up. So again, 1 there and 1 there. Okay, so now what we can do is line these up just like we did on the other sheet. Okay, again, drawing very, very lightly because these lines we will erase later on. Okay, so now we've got our 10 inches across. So now we need to make sure that we get our 6 inches for the height of it. Okay. Now we know that that's 10 inches this way. So now we just need to figure out where we want our 6 inches to be within that. And again, the easiest way to do that is to use the edges of your paper to make sure that, because if I measure out 6 inches over here and I start, say, right here, and then on this side I flip it over and I start over here, well, guess what? That 6 inches isn't going to add, it's not going to add up. This one will end here and this one's going to end over here. Does that make sense? So you got to make sure that you're using something to relate to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure a 1/2 inch inwards from that line to give myself some like buffer room, because I don't want my edge of my paper being the perforation. Does that make sense? I would rather it be a nice smooth finish. So I'm going to measure a 1/2 inch in. So right there is the 1/2 inch. So that's that big line that's in between 0 and 1. And I'm going to do that all along here. So what we're measuring here right now is just going to be our boundary, right? Our outer boundary of where our drawing is going to be. Okay, so there I did the 1/2 inch. So now I just need to connect all those, right? So now if you were using a piece of paper that was exactly the size that you needed it, you wouldn't have to go through all this. You would cut your paper to the exact size that my box is going to end up being, okay? But if you're working in your sketchbook or something else that you want it to have a border and stuff, then you can do it this way. Okay, so then I'm going to, from here, now I can use that line for 6 inches inwards, okay? So then I can line up flush with the 0 on my ruler. And then again, I'm keeping it pretty straight compared to that line on the outside. And then I want to go through and measure 6 inches. So right here, so here's 6, here's the big line after. That's going to be my 6. Okay, and then I'm going to come down here to the middle, making sure that this is straight and flush with that. And again, the big line, and there's 6. And one more time down here. We'll just go ahead and measure. Yeah, we'll keep it right there. Okay, and the same thing, I can make sure it's straight with this line that's down here as best as I can. And marking that 6. Okay, now we can connect these. Again, drawing very lightly because it will be something that we will probably want to erase later on, especially these guys out here. Okay, so now we've got our 6 by 10 drawing area. Okay, So everything inside of this box will be this drawing, okay?